welcome to a world of unforgettable experiences and immersive marketing. Transform your events into extraordinary moments that captivate your audience. Whether it's corporate gatherings, product launches, or community celebrations, our immersive marketing solutions elevate your events to new heights. Immerse your attendees in a world of audio books and podcasts tailored to your brand. Engage their senses and leave a lasting impression. Explore the power of storytelling with our curated podcast content. From insightful discussions to entertaining narratives, we've got the perfect audio experience for your event. Ready to make your next event unforgettable? Scan the QR code now and book a complimentary immersive marketing call with our experts. Let's create memories together. Elevate your events with immersive marketing. Scan the code and let the magic begin.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Nicole Borghi, and we're here with another enlightened episode of the Pain Point Podcast, where we solve your pain points. Absolutely, whether it's on an entrepreneurship level, a business level, maybe even a leadership level, or the leadership within. Here we are today, and I've got my guest here, Mark. And Mark, if you go ahead, hey, thank you for being here.
Thanks so much, Nicole. I'm excited for the conversation.
Guys, we were having a conversation backstage, and it just seems like we're in the middle of the recording anyways. Hey, we thought we'd just jump on and go ahead. And Mark, would you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I tell a little bit about myself. It always starts with the fact that I have my wife. I'm a husband and father, married 33 years. I have 3 adult children, 45, 41, and 26 as of last week, actually. Our baby daughter, who's 26. And what I do is personal coaching, mentoring. I'm a pastor, business leader, really trying to help people have resources and tools to live out whatever their calling is in their life, whether they're a business person or they're in a vocation. My desire is for people to get the tools and the strategies to be able to live out the life that they're created for and to overcome the things that are standing in the way. I do that through courses, Life Mastery course, the book over my shoulder, Life Mastery, Living Life by Design, Not by Default.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that, because whether we're talking business, and this matches perfectly right on the inside when we're talking about our own personal temple of ourselves and leading from within, is really sharing the point that if you lead within, you can lead without. Your troops will support you a little bit better if you're a strong leader with all the aspects, right?
Yeah.
Like an old school Patton, which he was very spiritual person apparently and very well read, more like a polymath instead, but he was a great leader and his troops supported him. And so whether you're leading a few employees or just yourself, and sometimes that's the hardest part, because sometimes it's that battle of that monkey mindset and getting into this. And you know what? I want to lead here with this question. We were talking before a little bit about how you got here and how you developed this. And that absolutely coincides with getting into the virtual space and utilizing virtual stages. They're free. We're here on Zoom, whether you're paying for the program monthly, or you have a phone and you pick it up and you talk. You can talk to people, you can talk to an audience, and you can develop and hone this and craft an audience of your own, people that want to hear your message. And then where can they find you? So if you're consistently on a virtual stage, that's anywhere and everywhere, you can talk to your people, talk to your audience, right? So
Yeah.
How did you start this? This was great, what you were telling me before.
Appreciate you asking. There was a interesting event that happened in 2019 going into 2020, which was COVID. So I had developed this course. I tell people that it wasn't a course that I developed, Life Mastery or the book. I didn't write it because I thought it was a great idea for somebody else. I wrote it because it was the roadmap I used to get from being a person that was dealing with imposter syndrome, fear of failure, while still succeeding in business, succeeding in education. I got my second degree black belt. All these things that I didn't take away those fears and those issues of feeling imposter syndrome, like it was going to fail at any moment. So my course and the things I do to really try and mentor and coach and really bring the leader out of the business leader came from a necessity I had in my own life. And then from that, wanting to share with other people so that they'd have that same transformational journey. While 2019 going into 2020, we had our calendar set. For the whole of 2020, we had everything we wanted to do, in-person events, local, regional, that we were going to roll out within the year, just really a continuation of the things we were doing. And lo and behold, COVID happened. And so by March going into April, the whole calendar was out the window because most of my teaching and training was in person. it was something that obviously I wasn't going to be able to do because you can't find places, facilities, or people willing to even do it at that time. But for me, the message mattered. And for me, the thing that I had inside, the passion that I had to see men and women transformed, not just being leaders on the outside, but like you said, leaders on the inside, so that who they were on the inside, who they understood themselves to be, was actually that man or woman that showed up in their business and their relationship and in their life. So the message mattered so much. I needed to pivot. I needed to figure out, okay, how do I get this message out? It was a desire of mine anyway to really get out of your sphere of influence and have a bigger community and really be able to impact more lives. And so for me, it was figuring out, okay, how do I get it online? And of course, a lot of that came from studying YouTube and engaging with Zoom and engaging with podcasts and those types of things. So the message got out. And for myself, being able to create an online course so that you didn't have to be in my community in California, Southern California, this region that I work in order to be able to have those courses. It was really creating the courses, finding the solution so that the message that mattered got to the people that it mattered to.
Wow, it's important. Well, like you said, really that hits home. The message that matter got the people to the people. That's your audience, right? So your
Yeah.
avatar. We talk about it in business, and I love the merging. What sparks me is the understanding of what I do in life that absolutely affects everything in business, and it
Yeah.
works one and the same. And so when coming into coaching or working with other coaches on a virtual stage, it's finding out that my experience as a leader that I was scared to use, that I thought, oh, it's so stoic, it's so
Mm.
hard, it's so heavy. But then I realized that's so much who I was, not just there to save people from themselves on a daily basis, but really finding that match. Where does it match on a spiritual level to say, if I'm a leader here to my troops, then I can lead within. And that makes me much more successful. And then the troops don't leave. I've seen many employees or subordinates quit management
Mm.
because management had quit them or
Yeah.
their leader had quit them. And how many times friends or family, COVID hit me hard, and I'm very honest about it with my audience and the people that I talk to. I lost a 15-year relationship and a 25-year career over that, and
Well,
much
sorry to hear
more
that.
but thank you. But it's to say that, hey, maybe this can be helpful to someone else and other people to express the fact that it wasn't, I was leading in one spot and doing successful, but in the other spot I was not. And
Mm.
so busy being busy and then thinking, oh, it's okay, everything's fine, we'll be good. Hey, I've got my food prep and I've got my water
Yeah.
naturally, and I've got a few first aid kits just on a natural daily basis. It's like a mom thing or a caretaker thing for my
Yeah.
mother. But to say that I didn't have that within and I didn't realize we were so broken, far apart on a family basis, to say that when something hit, everybody
Yeah.
didn't support me in the manner that I thought that they supported me. And so we had a few conversations. It's, yeah, as soon as the doors closed, it was like, hey, now we have to spend time together. Uh-oh. I couldn't hide in my business because it was a very physical, hands-on job. And chasing people out of a nightclub in Las Vegas down the boulevard, uh, there's nobody in COVID. So what do I do now? I'm lost. And so you get used to that after a while, and then you find out, okay, this is really the situation that I'm at. And it was a very truthful event. It was a very opening event
Mm.
to say, when I know so many other people, but I think it's the freedom to be able to talk about it and address those elephant in the room
Yeah.
situations where it's, if you can't do it on a personal level with yourself, then how can you help your clients?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Very scary, very scary. For you, how did you find, I felt like just even on a spiritual level, the doors shut, churches shut, groups shut down. They wanted to stay on Zoom. People didn't even want to talk. It was just a
Yeah.
mess. And it's, if anything, these supportive groups should have been more embracing. And it was just sad to me, but it also shares with me that team sense.
Mm.
And if you're looking at a team and you train your team well, you talk to your team, you lead your team,
Yep.
and you train with them daily, that means that they're going to support you in that time of a battle, but it
Yeah.
wasn't happening at home. And so that relationship had so much for people to lose their careers and jobs. And now to say, hey, how do I reach out to people and talk to them where it's not such a chaotic situation, to say, hey, we have a place where we can all meet, we can all talk, whether we
Right.
agree 100% or not. But here we are talking. And never having met you before, you were so kind to come in here and say, hey, absolutely, I'll get right in on the podcast. Because, hey, if somebody shares a mic with you, take the stage. Let's not make it a scary subject. How have you seen that reaction for you and maybe even your family and your business with that pivot that you decided to make in that time? Because you were open and
Yeah.
responded to it and you were ready to say, yeah, I'm going to take this bull by the horn and go ahead with it. How has this affected you within like maybe a business manner to say, hey, this was birthed from this chaotic situation. And now I can make sense, bring the strategy to it, but also help everybody be a little bit more enlightened with it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Thank you for asking. I think there's a couple of things. The first thing that's we teach in the course, and I lived out in my own life, was understanding that your identity comes from one of two things. It either comes in from inwardly, who you were created to be, is what I'd say, and I'm a Christian, so it's my understanding of who God made me to be. But really, for anybody, it's who are you really created to be versus what are the things that you're doing. And like you said, in COVID, or frankly, to be totally honest, I'm dealing with business leaders and owners and C-level executives and people in management, people in all levels of life, man. You take something away that's your identity, the thing that you're doing, the thing that you believe is, this is who I am. And all of a sudden things can be shaken. And so what we really try to do in my course, and what I was able to, as best as I could, live out in my life during COVID, is that you're more than the things you do. You're more than your role, your title, your income, your position. You are who you are apart from those things. Those things are just how you live out who you're created to be. So what I tell them is your characters, your calling, it's not the thing that you're walking into or the title on the doorway. And so who you are can impact anywhere that you're at. And so for us, for me, in walking through this time in COVID, when the whole business model came to a screeching halt, and you had to, like with yourself, you had to figure out, okay, now if the message matters, if it's not reliant on being in front of people, how can I make this work? And the truth of the matter is, it worked out phenomenally well, and had exponential increase in growth that wouldn't have happened according to the plan that I had walking into 2020. But there's a couple of
Right.
things that I had to do and we had to do. And the first was this: the message mattered. You're more than this game plan that you've decided was yours. Now, how do you make it work? What are the things that you can do? What are the answers that you already have? You and I talked before we came on. And what I teach the men and women that I work with is, first and foremost, a mindset shift to understand that you're the answer to the circumstance you're walking into. As a Christian, I can walk it out biblically, but what you need to understand is what I desire for you to understand, and what we walk out as some of the tools and strategies. We have a 3-step transformational strategy: master your thoughts, words, and actions. And what it does is it gives the power back to you to understand that, hey, life can either happen to me or I can happen to life, but it's going to be one way or the other. And if I walk into a circumstance understanding that I'm the answer to the circumstance, I may not have the tools, I may not have the training, I may not have all of the things, that the owner's manual and all the things that I need for it, but I will find answers walking into it. And in that place, they start to pop up. For me, obviously, like with yourself with the virtual stages, it's okay, how can the message get out if I can't meet in person, and finding those tools and abilities to do it. But for a lot of us, the guys and gals I work with, leadership starts with you. And it doesn't start with you creating a task list for you to follow. It starts with you evaluating yourself truthfully for who you are, not for the mistakes you made, not for the struggles you're walking into, not for the fears that you have, but for your created value and what that person looks lived out in your business, in your marriage, in your work, in your church, in your community group, and the things in your virtual community. What are the things I'm bringing? What's the impact I'm supposed to make? And how can I be that person that I need to be, so that what I have on the inside blesses and cares for those people that it's supposed to?
There's so much in that. And it's great to say that you're the answer. Not I have the answer. I am the answer. I am the tool to solve this problem. And so whether you're going to hit it like a hammer or you're going to come with a complete toolkit
Yeah.
and see if you can maybe tune it up, the vehicle of you to say, hey, this is the answer. Here's the answer. I am the answer, not just the one little sliver. It's the full picture. It's not the short, it's not the clip. Sometimes we need to
Yeah.
hear a little bit of something to spark that thought and then to go into our critical thinking mode. But it's really that full picture, because if we just stick into that one spot, my left hand's no good without my thumb and my fingers.
Hmm.
So it's bringing that whole you together and providing that, really taking action. Because I hear it all the time from people when we're talking about leadership or coaching or taking action and moving forward in personal or even in business, to say, hey, you've got to take some type of action. It can be a little bit scary, but
Yeah.
if you want to move on to the next level, you got to take action. Taking action to take action is like driving your car until the gas runs out. And now you're stuck somewhere 150 miles away from home and you
Yeah.
have no gas because you're down a road. Who knows what road you're in, right? But what actions are you taking? So putting those down, even like a Post-it note to say, today I'm going to do this, and not just be busy being busy, burning out.
Good.
And so many people do that. And it's really mastering. And I really like that. I like that you say that, because life mastery, when I'm looking at your course here, is that it is the full mastery. And
Yeah.
we've gotten a little bit away from that thought of perfection. Because if you're in martial arts or you're running or you're exercising, you have to constantly do that to stay not only at your same pace, but to move forward.
Yeah.
Every now and then we plateau and then we have to change a little bit, but then we move forward and we accelerate. And what's great with that is that it's the full picture. How simplistic it is to just click the link, and I'll share Mark's information below, you guys. You know me, I like to share that because Mark has a cause, and that's absolutely what I like to do, is to market for the cause, whatever that great cause is, to uplift and support and find the solution, within business, and to share it with one another, because we develop a community if we share each other's information and buy from each other. And also, hey,
Yeah.
your audience wants to find you. So you have to have that great, very strong call to action. But for the purposes of the show, the fact that you share virtual courses online, so you can find Mark here in this podcast, you can find Mark on his website, or you can even find a little bit more of these courses. And so I see that your life mastery has a step-by-step course.
Yes.
So discovering the person in you, is that kind of just like more of a self-evaluation or a self-survey? It's not going to end up with someone in a dark night of the soul and they're going to end up tragic a little bit deeper. And that's okay. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's just simple stuff. Let's make it easy. That's my thing. I like to keep it simple.
Yeah, absolutely. And for us, it starts with the foundation of identity, which is how most things start. But the honest truth is, in most courses that I took, most books that I read were really you picturing the perfect you, or this, we talk about avatar in marketing, yourself and myself, really figuring out, hey, who's my audience? Who's my community member? Who's the person that this is going to matter to, that I can get it in front of so that impacts their life, whatever the course is, the teaching, the training, the services that you have. But what we work with is, we work with identity as, who were you created to be? Not who's this perfect person, right? I want to be the next Elon Musk. And the challenge with a lot of that is, we're shooting for a goal we'll never hit, because you'll never be Elon Musk. You may have the great value he does. You may create businesses that are comparable to his. But at the end of the day, when you're trying to imitate somebody else, you're really, at the end of the day, just an imitation of who they are. And so you have a limitation on your ceiling. My level of excellence will never reach theirs, because I'm always trying to measure up to who they are. And that's typically the life that we live, right? Where you're trying to measure up to matter. And
Yes.
so we start with unpacking that by saying, hey, who were you created to be? Right? How can we have an authentic picture of who you are? And so we start with an I am statement, and it's you apart from your stuff, you apart from your role, your position, your power, your influence, you apart from your accomplishments. Who is that man or woman? Because that's where we're going to start with. And then we do a couple of other exercises. We create a celebration list and an accomplishment list. The celebration list is because I'm sure you see it a lot, Nicole, when you deal with high achievers, they'll always see the thing that they're falling short on. I could have done, right? I could have done better. I could have had more, right? Sure, I
That list is
succeeded.
long.
Exactly. But it's not truthful. So what I say is, first off, let's start with a celebration list. What do you celebrate about you? Not about your accomplishments, because we always have this mindset that I matter when I accomplish. I matter when I do. I matter when I complete. And that gives you this great sense of anxiety when you don't. when challenges happen and fear happens. And what I desire is that your emotions are authentic. They're not something that's going to bind you, something that's going to hamper you, something that's going to hinder you, something that you're going to have to wrestle with. I deal with so many successful people that also have fear of failure. They're working and living at a high level, but although the
Yeah.
joy is taking out of it and their success is more of a relief than a joy
Mhm.
because, oh, okay, I didn't fail. And they're in the multi-million dollar range. And I let them know, you don't have to live like this. We try and manage things that we actually have the ability to overcome if we just have the right tools. I don't want to continue to unpack everything. It'd take too long. But at the end of the day, we start with, who are you? And what do you celebrate about you? The more I celebrate about me, the more I give myself grace in those times when I stub my toe, when I fall short, when I make a mistake, right? Everybody makes them, but sometimes they live with us longer than they should. And then the accomplishment list. And I tell them start with 20. I did 100. And so when you get to 20, 30, 40, 50, now you're saying things like, I graduated from high school, I pay my bills on time, and all these things. And actually, every one of those matter. You have those marquee moments and those things that are amazing and everybody would see as an accomplishment. What you don't see is those small incremental things you do on a daily basis that prove that you have a track record of success. So as life is going along and you're striving for those greater things in your life and you're worried, can I accomplish it? We always point you back to who you are, your character. You have a character of success in your life. You just don't celebrate yourself until you get to that. This is the time of year for it. You get that Olympic level. Now, all of a sudden, I've done something good. No, you've done something good along the way. The interesting thing is athletes at the highest level, if they don't celebrate themselves and recognize their accomplishments along the way, they'll never get to the mountaintop. And so we try and give you some of those strategies to really unpack identity and who you are. And in that place, you're able to live it out in every area of your life. Like you said, life mastery. What I say is this: you're meant to live at the highest level, the level of excellence that you were created for in every area of life. Most of the time, we don't know that because a lot of times the world and media and all those folks out there, not any harm or foul on them, they'll pick vocation, they'll pick income, they'll pick status, they'll pick notoriety or whatever the thing is that you have. But the truth is, you have value and worth. You have something of level of impact in every area of your life. When you start to understand who you are, you start to allow that person to show up in your business, in your home, with your friends, in your social environments, in every area that you have. And now you start to not just be successful, but be fulfilled because now the person that you're created to be, man, you're living it everywhere. And it's an amazing experience to be able to do that.
That that is true because when you don't know who you are when you're a kid, oh, hey, I want to paint or I
Yeah.
want to be like Da Vinci, I want to be like the astronaut, or I want to be
Yeah.
an influencer, whatever. What are you meant to be? Who are you? And when you define that, just like you're defining your avatar, mind speakers and podcasters, because
Yeah.
I give them an event space or I share with them how to create the event space. And so when I make it that simple for me, or when I assist now my clients, because I thought, oh gosh, this opened up so much for me by doing this for myself. Now it's, hey, let's bring this together. When you identify that, you identify your audience, you can even take that to home. Who is your family? Who is your friend? Who are your loved ones? Who are the five people that you're around all the time, which makes you and makes you change at every time, because
Mm.
always changing and growing at a soul cellular level.
Yeah.
And how do we do that? But and then you come into, you have the achievements and we mark those off. And if I'm having a really frustrated day, it's, oh, if I just take a little Post-it note and I outline it, cross it off, then I'm like, oh, I did.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I've got this laundry list here, but I'm like, oh, I actually, what have I been doing for the same 10 hours? I'm still doing video and cutting this and making an email. And it's, look what actually I did. But why
Yeah.
is this going on here? I'm solving this problem for other people. I'm helping people in nonprofits and for-profit company come find their cause too. But they can't have a solution for their cause if they don't understand what their personal cause is and their mission.
Yeah.
Why on that level inside, or on a spiritual level, what is that cause for you? What is your why, so to say? But then you're
Yeah.
mastering that. And that's how you do that instead of getting so thinly spread out, because you can't take a little piece of you everywhere, where now I guess you can achieve the singularity online with AI, right? But in using that, as we develop and you start to utilize tools like VR and chat, that's not meant to take over our life. It's really to find the creation through that. And Michio Kaku speaks a lot about that and really hones into that to say, allow this to happen like you were a leader, delegating to the troops their strong points,
Mm.
let them support you as the foundation, and then you can conquer whatever city or state you need to conquer, or whatever it is you
Yeah.
need to, whatever it is the mission is for that point. But once you do that with these and you delegate well, instead of trying to take it all on yourself or hiring somebody so expensive, find those little pieces that fit into the puzzle. When you do, that gives you the freedom to celebrate. And then you can
Yeah.
tithe to yourself a little bit and break off a little piece of your business and say, hey, I'm going to take 20 minutes here with myself, my family, whether it's take a bubble bath, take a walk, or just have a nice family dinner. And then to say, I'm going to break off that little portion here, put it on your schedule if you have to, and say, I'm going to commit to doing this. I had a friend that was always going 7 days a week, and then she was just going till she was going, and her snowball turned into this big avalanche. And she was just
Yeah.
exhausted all the time, couldn't focus. We were having conversations over and over again, and it's, hey, friend, take some time for yourself. What are you doing? You have to have some relaxation, whether
Yeah.
it's going for a run or painting a house or whatever that is, but breaking off that time, and then also celebrating who you are, because you celebrate that is such a high energetic level, the celebration. Why would anybody else celebrate you if you don't celebrate yourself? Because your value,
Good.
your worthiness is just not there. And I realized that, okay, the hard way, to say, hey, I didn't have that value for myself. I had the
Yeah.
value in the work. I didn't have the value at home, or I didn't have the personal identity. When I took the uniform off, that value, or who I was there, just decompressed and got lost. And so
Mm.
saying that, hey, to bring that up, and that's helped so much within business, and to help other people, to sprinkle that with other people, to say, hey, when you get on a stage, people not only see, hey, look at your lighting and your cameras over here, and this is over there. Well, it doesn't really matter in virtual reality, because you could be whatever you want. But but that all kind of shows up in the long run. How are you talking? What are you saying? What's your conversation? What's your strong call to action? That's all valued in the structure and the system.
Yeah.
And so celebrate those milestones, because people will now celebrate with you. If you look at YouTube and you're watching a video, and I was just watching Billy Carson the other day, I'm getting ready to go to his Conscious Life Expo. And I'm excited because it's a bunch of people with solutions and
Yeah.
classes, and just uniting thousands of people together to do something good,
Yes.
do something healthy, not just say I'm a good person, but actually physically doing it, taking action and showing the worthiness. But not only we are going with friends and some groups to celebrate ourselves, celebrate other people, celebrate each other. But if you take pieces of that and you take video of that and that system, and everything is basically virtual, it's podcasting and events and all that stuff, but putting that in there to say, people on YouTube are valuing you and they're celebrating you.
Yeah.
They want to see more of you and they want to celebrate you. So when you do that, you give them the chance to find you, support you, and connect with you. And so they're celebrating you. So if you don't tell people even that, hey, I am good, I am worthy, you're sending that out to the universe and
Yep.
say, this is good. I am a good person and I'm celebrating myself. I had a good time this weekend. People want to hear that. It makes them feel good. And they'll
Yep.
go out and do it too. And so you're sharing that, a little business and a little fun, and saying, hey, I can really master this. And that just evolves into the business sense of saying, hey, now I have this value and this worth all around. Hey, I'll quit my business and go on a mission or something. And what I do is now I can take my business globally.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about being online and having virtual stages, is I can do business anywhere. I could go to this great conscious life expo, and then I can go into maybe Ecuador and into a retreat or helping out in the community. And that's me actually physically doing something wonderful because I was able to utilize the virtual space and virtual reality or anything like that as a business and travel. And now I can have this great personal connection, and
Yep.
it frees up the time. And it's so great than the 9 to 5 or the 12, 16-hour tired shift. Never take a vacation.
Yeah.
And it just gets into everything. So really the focus is to find these solutions, and you provide so many. And thank you so much for doing this and sharing that, because you've got a lot of solutions. And I think when people listen to someone like you, Mark, they realize that, hey, I do have the solutions. I am the answers. And you lead from within so you can lead without, and coming into that and saying, hey, this is the conversation we're having. And this is why virtual stages are so important, because now we can open up larger conversations to anybody within our circle or outside of our circle to say, you know what? We're all human. We all have hearts, and we can get together and we can be friends.
It's good.
And to healthy with that, and taking those situations and saying, yes, we can problem solve without being in that angry mode, which I saw a lot of that, but the solution. So bringing this back to this space here and the life mastery. And so the business to be, obviously you were able to open up and say, hey, I can make changes and I can position.
Yep.
And that's huge. And to say, hey, this is going to have greater effect on the world. And I think I like to use 2020 as that shift. And so going forward, when we get into the virtual space, whether Zoom or YouTube or whatever you're using for your stage, it's easier to pivot. It's easier to say, okay, this doesn't work. If I can't go live, I can record and I can put it on there later. So just pivoting and getting a little bit creative to see the simplicity of, if I plan, I have a strategy and a structure and a way that I perform, and my own standard operating procedure is like this, and I do and function the same every day, basically, then on the larger scale, it's much easier to come back to, and now you're prepped and you're prepared. On this course with the life mastery and what you do in connection with solutions,
Hmm.
do you find that people, when they come back to you after taking this course, do you have contact with a lot of people to say, hey, especially with your book, to come together and say, hey, thank you for doing this and being part of my life, and just making it simple?
Yeah, absolutely. So for my Life Mastery course, the online course, part of the whole course package that I try and give is 3 online one-on-one coaching sessions. And so that gives me the opportunity not just to hear the feedback and understand what their journey is and be able to celebrate them in it. We also have the private Facebook group for that as well, for community building, like you talked about. But in the one-on-one time, it's really being able to give them like you're using with the virtual stages, giving them the shortcut to success in their life. So in those places where you're walking through what you call a life mastery journey, and you're really trying to understand what it looks like to be the person you're created to be and have the life that you're created for, we have those identity tools and some of the things we're doing. But sometimes there's that sticking point. There's that place where I don't understand how I can implement this, or I'm getting stuck here. I'm having these same old mindsets. The things that I'm using, the tools and strategies, don't seem to be working as quickly. You can have that one conversation that can give you a breakthrough or give you that kind of acceleration into that next level. And so that's what we do with the one-on-one coaching. But for me, I obviously I grab testimonies. We have some on the website from some of my students. And what I really love to see is there's a couple of them. There's a guy named Brett who was that kind of, if you want to call him an avatar. He was a person who was a full-time business person and a pastor. He was bivocational. So he was doing both things at once. Highly successful in business and doing 6, 7, 8-figure business transactions. And come to find out, as he was a friend of mine, at the same time, he was dealing with those things I talked about, that fear of failure that came along for the ride. While he was highly successful, his success was really more of a relief than a joy, because he always felt like he was just one step away or one bad decision away from really tanking his business and having it not work out the way he desired, or those financial repercussions. When you have a deal that falls apart, there's a financial consequence to that. And so there's some real world challenges that can happen. But at the end of the day, most of the challenges were in his mindset, not in his business transactions. And so seeing him afterwards and seeing the person that he became, really what I tell people is you're not really trying to become somebody different, but it's a transformation into who you were created to be. And for him, it was seeing a man who not only was successful at business, but believed it about himself, that wasn't always trying to measure up through the dollar signs that were in his bank account, but could actually live his life from a place of joy and have that be something that was an outcome in every area of his life. Because, like you are aware of Nicole in his life, the business came home with him. If there were struggles and challenges that came home with attitude and actions and stoicism or the walls and barriers that you build up. But for him, it was really being able to have a family that was impacted positively because of the changes in his life. And so those things happen, right? It's being able to celebrate yourself, understand who you are, but in that place, the people around you don't have to make up the difference. What I tell people in my own journey is if I don't know who I am, then my wife has to make up the difference. If I'm feeling insecure or fear or anger or anxiety, now all of a sudden it affects that relationship. But when I can walk in who I am as a business leader as well, when I'm a CEO that is confident in my abilities to lead the people around me, now all of a sudden I can give them permission to lead in the ways that they're supposed to. It bleeds over into everybody that you're around because now all of a sudden, when I see it in them as myself looking at a leader, now all of a sudden I feel I can do it myself. You can only hand off what you have possession of, right? And as I walk in those tools, it affects everybody in your life. And it's been something that's been one of the great joys of my life, not just impacting lives, although if I only was able to do that, it would be absolutely phenomenal, but really seeing the exponential effect of it affecting their relationships, their families, their communities, and their businesses as people around them start to thrive simply because the person that's in the course is thriving.
Oh, 100%. And it's very important for home life work balance that everybody has been talking about for the last few years, and where we went from the me, which was meant to be the I am.
Mhm.
And so to bring that in, somebody stole it and it became that kind of hashtag in a way and hijacked that. And then your
Yeah.
gremlin came in the car for a ride, and now you've got that monkey mindset in the back seat of the station wagon that you can't kick out because you're stuck on the road. And it's wow, crazy moment. But realizing that whatever that form of self-love and strength and leadership within really brings that spirituality back, and wherever that angle is or what have you, to find your purpose, and then to just really ignite with that that universe and that energy or God or however that is. But when we start to do that, we're not only empowering ourselves, but as you mentioned before, we empower our loved ones and our community. And
Yeah.
that's the answer. That's really the answer, to say, let's strengthen that. And when you bring in not just talking on a podcast, but when people come on to say, hey, you have to have a great call to action. You have to have some type of gift. Not only do you funnel it when we talk about marketing for summits and other events, not only do you want to funnel not just to make money, but people want to give to you. People want to support you. And that's
Yeah.
how they do it. They not only get your gift, they feel value, and then they spend a little money on your coaching and your business. And not only that, but they feel even further supported along the journey because now you have a group, now you have one-to-one,
Yeah.
and you want to provide that as a business model because you want the full spectrum. And as we do that, and as we grow and we say, hey, yes, absolutely define your avatar, absolutely
Yeah.
define what that is that you do. What do you do? Hey,
Yeah.
I say simply virtual stages. It is the huge aspect of my business to say how simple it is to grab the mic. If I can't speak, I can't find a stage, I'm a speaker, I can't find a podcast, we'll reach out. If you reach out, people will reciprocate, and it's okay if they say no or don't talk to you, just move on to the next person. Don't leave
Yeah.
that energy binding you there of rejection. And then maybe now you need to go within and say, hey, it's okay for people not to like you. So what? Honestly, What do you get by that? By trying to grasp at everybody's love and affection. That's where it brings us into this space to say, hey, I'm empty. I'm a shell. I'm just here in my meat suit and there's nothing inside. There's no value. There's nothing going on in there. But bringing that back to say, whatever the community is, whatever your tribe is that you need to get up with and take arms with and find that worthy cause. We should
Yeah.
all have some type of cause. And that's what brings it back for even marketing for a cause. And it's just a simple phrase, but it's powerful because whether it's your church, your community, your group, or the cause is maybe domestic violence or all kinds of nonprofits that I work with and help out. But to say maybe even just your community, if you bring people together and people speak and do stages and you collaborate, you can bring money within to that space.
Yeah.
And now that money is going to the cause. But it grows because now you have an audience that knows where to find you, how to find you. So you tell them, where do I go? It's as simple as that. What is your call to action to say, where do I go? Where do I find you? What happens? Go to your website. That's easy enough. Mark's information's down below. Go to his website. And it is really that easy. And it's to say, let's not make this so difficult because there's enough difficult, crazy stuff in life. We find it simple. And then now
That's
you can
good.
go home or now you can turn off the camera and you can be like, okay, I did a good thing. I did a thing. I did a good thing. I did some stuff. I had some focus today. Cross that off and I can move forward. It helps you not only in your community, but when you're networking, then people will start to listen to you. They'll stop being like looking down on their phone and saying, oh gosh, what is this guy even talking about? I can't remember why I'm here. And then I've seen people even get on phones while you're in a Zoom conference in a breakout room because they don't want to listen to what's going on. You
Yeah.
lost their attention. It's okay if they're doing something for business, but if everybody's not paying attention, then there has to be some adjustment. And so maybe just ask them, what can I say? What should I do? Get on a call with people. Really find a little bit more about them. You're developing a community. You're developing a tribe. You're connecting. You're getting references. And that's what we're got away from with these great, strong communities. So let's bring them back. And it's as easy as getting on the mic and talking to somebody. Now you grow your outreach. So those just kind of simple things. Yes, it is that simple. And that's what I love about it is you do that. And then now you're relaxed. You feel good. You can work longer. You can make more money. But then you feel good when you celebrate. And the celebration is so important. Not only is it that you've asked and manifested the abundance that you put out there and you've reached your goal and then you celebrate it. And then the world, the universe, however you look at it, will say, hey, you're doing such a good job. I'm going to give you a lot more.
Right.
And then you get more. And that's how you get promoted in business. If you're a good leader, you get promoted, you get accolades. Oh, wow. That's how that kind of balances out. So just taking a look and detaching to look at that is such a great way to really say, okay, this is what I need to do. And then so when the time is a little bit rough and a little bit hard and stressful, and it's something new, you're so prepared for that next step. You're so prepared to allow the abundance to come into your life and not put a stop to it and sabotage it and go, wait, I manifested all this, but don't give it back to me. I don't want it.
Yeah.
It's like smelling cookies and someone offers you a cookie and you're like, well, no, I just want to smell it. What's the point? You don't feel good. You don't get to taste the cookie and someone else is upset because you've rejected their offer. And simple things of accepting all this manifestation that you're putting together. And it's a wonderful thing when you see all these parts and pieces come together and that as times go by and this huge change in life is happening with all these virtual spaces, they don't have to be scary. They don't have to be awful. We don't have to sit here and scream at each other. We can talk and have a conversation and make some friends along the way and solve some pain points in our life and bring in solutions. So that is another angle, a little bit more today, guys, from the Pain Point podcast. And Mark, all your information is going to be below. And is there any other message you want to leave for anybody, or I'll let you have the last word, anything?
At the end of the day, the one thing that I did right over time that I would give you is this. I knew that there was more than the life I was living. And it's basically a summary of what you're saying, Nicole. All of the things that people are doing in their virtual stages and trying to figure out hey, how does my voice get out there and how do I lead people well and all of these things. At the end of the day, what I want you to know is that you're meant to have an impact. Mine comes from my Christian faith, but here's the truth of the matter. I don't see a person, I don't talk to a person, I don't know a person who isn't meant to have an impact in the world, an impact for positive impact to bless their community, to care for those people around them, and to make a change and a difference so that when they leave someday, when they die someday, their name will be known because they've impacted lives, hearts, and people's futures. So you're meant to have that impact. And what I would desire for you to do is continue to walk into things. Obviously, you have the tools and strategies from Nicole and the things that she's doing that are really going to be able to get your voice out there and build a community that you can be a part of. But what it really comes down to is understanding this. I'm willing to bet on myself one more time. For me, being able to have the confidence and the ability to say, hey, I'm going to go completely differently with the game plan for my life and the things that I want to do to impact the world. It came with challenges and it came with the things you needed to learn. But what I was willing to do was bet on myself one more time. I believe that, hey, I'm going to be the kind of man that's going to be able to get, I'm going to be able to do the things that I need to do. But really, what I'm going to be able to do is live out the life that I'm created for. Bet on yourself and your ability to get there, to be the person that you're created to be, so that you can have that life, so that you can be out there on the virtual stages, and so that the world around you, the people around you can be impacted by who you are. If you do that, you're going to see a life that's really amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hey guys, so whether you're receiving a download or divinely guided, listen to that little voice and just grab the mic and get on the stage. And so thank you so much, Mark, for being here. Hey guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.